Okay, autumn. As I trundled into the halls of autumn, a marvelous sight unfolded. Before me lay an enormous stretch of farmland, decrepit and overgrown, but a farm nevertheless. Strange fruits and greens grew in plots, while emaciated chickens ran about, all the while I tended by enormous double-bladed centurions. Remember finding it amusing that the service people had a whole season dedicated just to harvest, and did they do this as a mockery to some forgotten god of the feast? Whatever the case, I aimed to examine a piece of this dwarven wheat myself. The harvest glowed with a foul light. The grains as stiff as rock, yet as dense as the wheat was, I observed the British centurions cutting through with little effort, and carried them off to a set of depositories near the entrance. Note that the blades of these machines would make short work of flesh and armor. My men nevertheless not only served as distractions as I made my escape. Perhaps if I had more time or men, I could carry the heavy wheat over to the depository and say whatever freakish endeavors the dwarves had begun. Spring greeted me with a splash of color as beautiful flowers were scattered across the halls of metal and stone. There were even animals sauntering about, feeding off the vegetation warmed by the artificial light. Unfortunately, our journey through this horrific sight of beauty was soon delayed by a most peculiar obstruction. Thick gnarled roots blocked the passageways, halting our progress. Perhaps the Dwemer had found nature to be cumbersome and saw spring as nothing more than a season of suffering. While the mercenaries labored to cut through the bark, my strong perception allowed me to notice strange spriggans shambling through the artificial forest. As I brushed aside, the roots quivered as if tendrils were an extension of the forest creature. Were these spriggans and tendrils of the gardens, or just a consequence of its existence? Regardless, if we can somehow sever the connection between the spriggans and the roots, we might find a way deeper into the ruins. Summer. Summer was a maze of tunnels and pipes, and no doubt centuries of neglect had left the place in a state of pure chaos. Lava spewed from every stone orifice I could see, and unbearable heat made for a precarious journey, causing many of the lesser missionaries to turn back to cooler times. But the Dwemer had predicted such superheat. This unbearable weather was undoubtedly what summer meant to them. I pulled myself through the swelter. I noticed prepared spiders guarding to and fro lowering bridges that granted access to side sections of the chamber. Seeing that within each section is a service waypoint, this is some sort of mechanical coolant, reducing the heat from impossible to merely annoying. Perhaps if I could find a way to direct the spiders to the various waypoints in the area, I could adjust the temperature to a more manageable level. Winter. Winter was not, to my surprise, home to a great indoor blizzard. And what the mercenaries thought of was artificial stone mountains, yet they were not mountains, but great towering silos of frozen water and the cold. Not even the highest mountains compared to such chills, and we were soon training furs amongst ourselves to keep warm. It became clear that to progress through this area, I would need to dive through the unfrozen waters that surrounded the towers, snaking up and around the structures like the ice race that call this place home. Such a solution as any solution thought up by me but not one I can risk at the moment. Perhaps when we return to this ruin, I can find someone less important to brave it. Alright. Okay, summer shorts. Hey, I'm gonna cut to the next part of the video. See you in the next one.